Hi everyone, my name is Tuba Barlas. I'm a research assistant at Soil Science and Plant Nutrition Department at University of Ege. I will be presenting you a joint study with Dr. Hakan that is entitled The Effects of Foliar Application of Different Potassium Forms on Yield, Tree Development and Pomological Properties in Orange. When we look at the global orange production in last 5 years, it's seen that it has an increasing trend with the variation from 72 million tons to 7 to 8 million tons. As you can see from the production map, Turkey is one of the most important orange producer country. And Turkey is able to get the 10th rank in global production with the production amount of nearly 2 million tons. Fruit size, shape and color, rind thickness, texture features, and brix are assumed as quality criteria in citrus related to the consumer demands with superior external characteristics. It's known that fertilization, especially with potassium, is a factor which directly affects fruit quality. To some researchers, fruit weight and shape with rind thickness are the most affected quality factors by variations in potassium concentration. It's reported that potassium increases fruit size in citrus fruits, accelerates sugar formation, and positively affects the color and aroma. In a study conducted to determine the ideal dose and form for potassium in clementine mandarin by applications of potassium nitrate and potassium sulfate, it was determined that yield, fruit size, and rate thickness increased in both forms with the increasing concentration. The objective of this study is to investigate the effects of various foliar potassium sources on yield, tree growth parameters such as tree height, canopy width, and canopy volume, and some pomological characteristics like fruit pulp and rind weight, rind thickness, fruit width, height, and shape index, in addition to brix and vitamin C. As the material, Washington Navel orange variety grafted on Trifoliata strange was used. The experiment was conducted in a grove in Gümüldür district of Izmir in Turkey, where the Mediterranean climate is dominant, with 5 replications for 3 years using a randomized block design. Here in the map, you see the experiment site. It belongs to the western part of Turkey. A sandy loam texture and mild alkaline reaction are seen in the soils of the groves where the study was carried out. Total nitrogen concentrations of these soils vary in the range of 22 to 25 kg nitrogen per hectare. According to soil analysis, 160 kg nitrogen, 60 kg phosphorus pentaoxide, and 160 kg potassium oxide per hectare were applied. As potassium sources, potassium nitrate, potassium thiosulfate, and potassium phosphate were used in addition to control group, which has no foliar potassium dose. The yield value was determined at the harvest time every 3 years. After determining the tree height and canopy width, canopy volume was determined. After the fruit, rind, and pulp weights were measured, rind thickness, fruit width, and height values were determined using a digital caliper. The shape index was obtained by proportioning the fruit width and the height. Brix was determined by a digital refractometer, and vitamin C was calculated trigonometrically according to Horwitz. The normal distribution assumption was tested using the Shapiro-Wilk test. ANOVA was used to examine the difference between the means of variables that have 3 or more independent groups with normal distribution and the critical values for those without normal distribution. Bonferroni post-hoc test was applied to examine the group or groups making the difference. All analyses were performed with IBM SPSS 25.0. As a result of the study, it's found that average yield value varies from 125 kg per tree to 141 kg per tree, and the fruit weight varies from 211 gram to 247 gram. The highest values were obtained with the potassium phosphate application, and it's seen that this treatment groups makes a significant difference rather than other groups. It is seen that rind thickness and brix values also show a tendency to increase. Potassium phosphate looks like the most effective group. Positive effects of potassium phosphate application were also found on vitamin C and canopy volume. It can clearly seen that this treatment increases these parameters in highest rates and makes a significant difference. This research reveals that quality criteria such as yield, fruit weight, fruit size, rind thickness, vitamin C, and canopy volume are positively affected as demonstrating an increase by foliar fertilization with potassium. Among the potassium sources used in the present study, potassium phosphate created the highest and significant difference compared to the control group in regard to all parameters examined. Potassium phosphate can be recommended as an effective potassium fertilizer for foliar potassium applications. Thanks for listening to me.